Okay, 2 classes down, one more to go, and it sucks out. I'm not talking about the classes, I'm talking about the weather. It's got to be my least favorite feeling, to be cold. Cold unintentionally, of course. Obviously, if I'm like doing a, ice bath or like a cold shower, there's kind of some hype behind it. But there's no, at least I don't see the mental toughness aspect of fucking feeling like my ears are gonna freeze off when I'm riding my bike to class. Whew. I think I really need to start bundling up. You know what else I forgot too at home was gloves. I think I may need to make a stop. It's not like frostbite level. We're not talking like this is Alaska, but 20 degrees Fahrenheit? That's what? Maybe -6 Celsius? That's chipper. That is chipper for sure. But no point complaining. That's a loser mentality. May as well just accept it and move on. So, plan for the lift is arms. And I think I'm going to make this arm day, I don't know. It'll depend on how busy it is. Because when the gym is kind of empty, or not like super full, that's when I'm probably more inclined to do my sort of, not superset, but back and forth style. Like all triceps, or no. I would do like a set or two of tris, and then a set or two of bis, and back and forth, and alternate between curls and pushdowns, or, tricep and bicep movements. But if the gym's really busy, then even getting a hold of one machine is sometimes a bit tricky. So I don't want to do 2 sets of pushdowns on a cable, and then, you come back and the cable's gone. So I think busier gyms aren't so accommodating for the superset style. So really I'll just be more than likely just cranking out all triceps followed by all biceps, which good lift too. But the last, I think 2 or 3 arm days, I've been doing them in an alternating style, right? 2 sets triceps, 2 sets biceps, and that has been working very well. I mean, obviously I haven't noticed any growth difference. That's not how quick that this shit happens. But the pumps are just fucking monstrous. They're demonstrably incredulous. Right? Truly a feat of the gymnasium. If you, well, I guess just try to get one on your own. But I think what I'm really trying to bring up is there's no one way to do this shit. Like, what does your arm day look like? Okay, straight bar pushdowns. Okay, rope. I like it. Skull crushers. Okay. I like that you say skull crushers towards, a little bit later in the workout, so you're already warm for it. And then tricep kickbacks. Okay, that's cool. And then dumbbell, like, just, I'm not going to do that for the whole lift. But think about what your arm day looks like. And fucking try flipping it on its head. Try starting with light squeezing tricep movements instead of, super heavy pushdowns. Or for curls, maybe, I don't know, start with cable curls instead of dumbbell curls or whatever. Do an alternating style. I mean, no matter what you do, as long as you're actually going hard and pushing yourself, more than likely you're going to get a pretty good muscular stimulus. As long as you're within normal range of reps. If I were to go to the gym for 4 hours and do 100 sets of biceps, I think I'm doing more bad than good. And if I were to go in and do just 1 set, I think I'm leaving sets on the table. I could have done more. So when I judge a workout's volume, and I'm talking naturals, unnaturals, across the board, by the time you've done, 8 to 10-ish hard working sets, and even less than that is probably good too. I mean, I'd say the realm or the range is, for one thing, it is very wide, but I'd say for one muscle group, 6 to 12 really hard sets. By the time you're fully pumped and you're within that range and you had a good workout, I say you're good to roll. You don't have to be in here forever. Remember, this isn't a test, right? If anything, I don't think that my workouts are ever a test of how much I can do per se. I do think of them as a test in a way, but I try to test myself on just how hard I can go. So that doesn't mean I want to do 1,000,000 sets. That means that the few sets that I do, I want to make sure that I'm going crazy, you know? And I think that's not a bad mentality to have in terms of your approach to your gym or to your lifts. But either way, I gotta finish this up before I am late for my next class. It's in a while, but still, probably better to be punctual, to lean on the punctual side. So let's hope it's not too busy. Get started. All right, more packed than I would prefer, but not that bad. So kind of underhanded, long D handle pushdowns. Perfect starter. Or two more. Okay. Yeah, one more. And then who knows what. Okay. All right. All done. Let's move on. Overhead single arm dumbbell extension. 45 pounds was too light. 65 pounds was way fucking too heavy. It ripped my triceps off. I think 50 is the sweet spot. So let's just fucking burn out. Oh my God. Okay. Whew. This setup on this fucking preacher, this is the best. Way better than just sitting on a bench. Let's do one more. Oh, fuck. Okay. Okay, fine. All right. In terms of squeeze, this movement does not really, that's not its strong suit. That's not its forte. But these overhead dumbbell, especially with one arm at a time, the stretch that I get on my triceps, unlike any other movement. So that's something that I think I've been lacking. You know, I can do as many heavy sets of regular push downs as I want, but if I don't get that complete stretch with these overhead dumbbell, I'm not going to say this for sure, but I'm pretty certain I'm leaving gains on the table. So I want to do at least a few of these every tricep day. I've been kind of slacking on it the last few days, but no. A few overhead with a crazy stretch. A new staple of triceps. But let's go do the dip machine. That'll be good next. I'm a little bit limited in my angles of this machine, so a little through the glass and the racquetball court it is, but not the whole stack. Enough weight that I feel like I'm smash my triceps though. All right. Okay, a little heavier. Okay. Okay. One more, and then I think maybe I'll finish with a set of straight bar pushdowns or something. Either way, triceps are basically done. Okay. So if you'll notice, for those first 10, I was really squeezing at the bottom. That's probably the part of this movement that I like the most, the squeezing part. Stretch, it's okay, but let's find a cable. Okay, straight bar push down, nothing complicated. Squeeze hard and then go find some dumbbells. Okay. All right. Triceps done. Let's go curl some shit. It is as though the 75-pound dumbbells have just been ordained to me for a set of curls. So look, I could do the fucking 50s, really slow and controlled, squeeze that mofo over the top. It'd be a good set, but I think there's definitely merit in the idea that mass moves mass, aka, you know, this bigger dude is going to lift more weight. So if you do the inverse of that law, the guy lifting more weight is going to be bigger. Now, of course, that's not a cut and dry thing. Fucking, we all know about power lifters, but throw some heavy sets in. You know, push it to the limit, at least a couple times each workout. Oh my God. Oh, that felt good. But I think I want to maybe hit biceps in a very back and forth way. So heavy set done. Let's go do a lighter squeezing set next. Luckily enough, I get to share this same setup with my dog and get some single arm bicep curls going. So nothing fancy, squeeze hard. I mean, how complicated is this shit anyway, if you really think about it? Okay. Okay. And one more. Decided to do a little bit of a pivot, a little bit of a rethinking of what I want to do. I think a straight bar curl will feel a little bit better than that single arm. Not for any reason I can quantify, I just sort of know it will. Let's do a little bit of a rest pause there. One more rest pause. Oh, that's enough of that. Time for preachers. All right, lucky enough for me, somebody's doing the preachers with the exact same amount of weight that I want to do. So I just get to jump in. Again, squeeze, go hard. We get the main idea. Okay. You can push a set hard, and honestly, I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing really great sets, but it can be night and day doing an extra 5 assisted reps versus, you know, just hitting failure right and wrong. So as long as I've got some dogs nearby, I'm gonna make use of it, as selfish as that sounds. Five more. Okay. All right, really push this one. Oh my God. I felt like I wasn't even moving the weight. Like it was just, that was sweet. That was sweet. So I was kind of at a loss for what to do next, you know, so I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, who better to ask than the dude standing next to me? You know what he said? Spider curls. It's been fucking forever since I've done a set of dumbbell spider curls. So, very light. I mean, what was the first set? The 75s? These would be the 25s. And I'm really just trying to squeeze. This is not about moving a crazy amount of weight. Really, I'm just trying to make the contraction. Honestly, I should be worried the fire alarm's going to go off because my biceps are probably going to burn through my shirt. At least, that's the goal. That's the goal sensation. Okay. Let's do one more of those. Maybe not my most intense looking set, but that's a good fucking burn. Yeah. Repeat. Okay. Oh, let's finish with one more set of something. All right. I think let's just finish with a straight up, normal set of alternating dumbbell curls. All right. We end where we began. Now, of course, not as heavy, but after all those working sets, the 50s will be more than enough. Actually, I'm going to pull up a TikTok audio. Spotify is not hitting hard enough. That's why. Okay, let's make it a drop set. Okay, that's enough. Let's go pose down. All right, so after, was that really that much? Obviously, or not obviously, but for me at least, that wasn't anything. Compared to like a super hard leg day, that was not my most intense lift. Which isn't to say that the sets weren't hard, but arm day, personally, I kind of like it just because it's not so taxing. So really all I get to do is, some hard sets, enjoy the pump at the end, and go home knowing I hopefully stimulated my arms enough to put some mass onto them. But let's see how we're looking beneath the pump cover. So, little word of the wise when it comes to making yourself some badass shirts. If you cut the sleeves off of a long sleeve shirt right at the elbow, right at where the end of your bicep goes. I mean, you do you. I don't care what your style is, but for me, I fucking love that shit. Like this used to be long sleeve, but I just cut it to the perfect length. So let's make sure we get the exposure right and actually hit a few poses. This is, I mean, this is probably the most godly lighting that I get to experience. I say this every time. The dude who designed this little gym and he put this singular light in this side room, he knew what he was doing. He knew there'd be some freaks posing down in here. At least I can only believe it. You know, it's like if you see something that's so perfect, it's like it has to be made by design. Things just don't happen that way, you know, out of nowhere. So, you tell me, is this a good arm pump? I guess I could actually measure it numbers wise, but I never bring my measuring tape. No. Okay, that's pretty much it. Arms complete. Pumped. There is no touching the shoulder with my finger. That's usually a good sign. Let's just get in the car and go home. Hopefully I didn't get ticketed. Okay, so it's nighttime. How'd that happen? Well, the police department, they had it out for me. And, not for no reason. I had outstanding parking tickets. So, longer than 30 days, if they catch you out on the streets, they get a boot on your car. Whoops. Okay, that it's kind of a shocker. But luckily, I wasn't actually far from the house. Because you gotta remember, the only reason I even drive to that gym, or the one that I just hit arms at, is just to have a car talk. Usually I would just take my bike since it's like, 1 second away. So luckily I could just walk home, and they had it taken off maybe like an hour or two later. I don't remember. I wasn't there. I had another class to go to, so I couldn't just sit there and wait. So I had to roll. But now I got to remember how that arm pump felt. It's pretty good. You know what? I did not love those single arm cable curls. Like, they were whatever, but yeah, that wasn't an awesome set. I think it was decent, but it wasn't that good. Then the barbell, the straight bar curls, I did like that. Honestly, I should have. Now that I'm sitting here kind of thinking about it, I think I want to try combining the spider curls with the straight bar on the cables. I think that would be pretty much sick, because then no swinging, at least no real swinging, from the fact that my chest is locked up against the bench, but also just the kind of locked in hand position from the straight bar. But yeah, that guy knew what he was talking about, telling me to get the spider curls going. I haven't done those for months, maybe even a year. Yeah, I think at least a year. It's been more than a year since I've done the spider curls. That was a good set. It's kind of, I would definitely want to save that set for the end of the lift, because it is sort of marathon-y. Like, I'm not going to do 10 reps to failure with the spider curls. I want to use a bit of a lighter weight and really focus on squeezing at the top of every rep, and then back down until I've only got a couple partials left. An easy bar probably wouldn't be a bad idea either, because then I could get some assistance. But it's kind of tricky, because then, like, there's no easy bars at that gym, like no pre-made setup easy bars. You got to add weights to them, and then I have to walk it over and like have somebody help me, just because it's hard to set up. The dumbbells were a much simpler method, which usually is kind of what I'm prone to lean towards. I'm a little bit of a hater whenever I see a movement that somebody does which is very complicated, like a lot of moving parts, like a bench and a machine cable, and like I can't really think of any now, like none are really coming to mind. But whenever I see a setup that's a bit too janky, there's just a few too many moving parts, I kind of the question sort of pops up in my mind. I'm like, is that really any better than just doing a regular dumbbell curl? Is it really better to do that curl on a fucking Bosu ball? Probably not. But maybe I'm just being a hater and I'm missing out. And he is getting the most insane bicep contraction that anyone has ever gotten by doing those, like some kind of funky movement. So make sure to keep an open mind. Don't just jump straight to point at somebody and say that's stupid. Because you got to remember, it's not about looks per se. The point of doing an exercise isn't to make the exercise look pretty and look like it's, perfectly executed, whatever. The whole point of an exercise, at least a weight exercise, right, like a set, it's just to do fucking muscular damage, And I'm not talking like injury damage. I just mean, fatigue damage. So if you see a guy doing a set of dumbbell curls and he's very still, just one curl after the other, and then you put next to him maybe a little bit more of a heavyweight junkie and have him do a heavier set of dumbbell curls, and he's kind of he's waving back and forth, kind of swinging. He's really fucking just kind of forcing out those last couple of reps to legit failure. They're both going to be doing a good set. They're both squeezing hard, assuming they both have like the same intensity. They're both pushing themselves to the same level of exertion. They're both going to have a good fucking set, man. And for that dude, maybe doing real heavy sets like that, like I like, just gives him a better pump, If I were to come in and do a chest day where, so the last chest day, I did the opening sets for chest was 3 plates on incline bench for 2 sets. And I'm being very cautious right now because I don't want to hurt my chest again. It feels pretty good, but I want it to really solidify and be healed before I start lifting crazier weights. But I'm doing 3 plates real slow and controlled. And all the comments were like, yeah, Sim's finally learning how to bench slow. And honestly, after I did those first 2 sets, I was like, yeah, that kind of feels like shit. That's just not what I like. It's, I'm not saying there's no merit, but for me, to do a set of 3 plates that's very slow and controlled like that, I just don't get enough out of it. I like the kind of high speed, like power reps, because for me, that just puts so much tension on my chest, and it just feels like I'm working more. I'm getting way more blood into the area. If you had me do, let's say I made my chest day completely simple, just incline bench, let's say 8 sets, obviously the weight is going to decrease. Like the first few sets, maybe I can do 3 plates, and then I've got to drop it to 275, maybe got to drop it to 250, 225, whatever. But it doesn't matter. 8 sets of incline bench to failure. I'll have a spotter. Maybe I'll have him give me a few assisted reps. But that's the premise of the workout, the hypothetical workout. And for me, if I sit here and do every set real slow and controlled, like those ones in the last chest day were, versus if I were to do them, quick and kind of powerful like I like, I can guarantee that sort of more quick speed rep and not totally locking out at the top and just staying in the realm of having a ton of tension on my chest, I know that I'm going to have a better pump doing it like that. And I'm not saying that's a cut and dry rule. Maybe for you love those slow and controlled reps. It gives you a really good pump. You can feel it better. Right? So that's why that's something I find a little bit annoying about, I hate to say it, but probably the majority of people looking for fitness advice on any platform, social, YouTube, Instagram, whatever, because it would make sense, right? With anything, usually you ask people how to do it, right? If I want to learn how to fucking, you want to learn how to do math, or learn a fucking equation, and everybody does it the same way, right? So when you ask your teacher how to do something, they all tell you exactly how to do it. Right? That's kind of how we're raised, just American school system style. So if you want to learn how to work out, then wouldn't that make sense? You go online, you comment like, what is the best workout routine for me? What's am I a mesomorph or am I an ectomorph? How many rests, right? which, valid questions, but there's a disconnect between the fact that people think there's a specific answer, which magically is going to make them say, "Oh my God, yeah, that's perfect." No one knows. It's unknowable. You can't just like. I watched a TikTok of some dude who's like ripping on somebody who's asking for advice. Like the guy was a pretty jacked dude. I don't know the name, but he was like, "Yeah, this guy kept asking me what's better for lat isolation, the Nautilus pullover or the Life Fitness pullover, or what's the best pull down machine? How wide should my hands be if I want to feel my lats? How?" And all of these questions. How do I track my macros? How many calories should I eat to lose weight? How many calories should I eat to gain weight? All of these questions are things which you can find out yourself. But the problem is you have to actually try something for a few weeks to see if it works. That's the shift, or that's the what's the word I'm trying to think? That's the butt of the joke, because anybody with half a brain, even with zero social media, zero anything, if they knew a couple of key aspects of what weight training was and protein, over time they could probably get pretty fucking big just by trying like a weight routine themselves, seeing what results they get, and then maybe trying something else, seeing what results they get from there, tracking their diet and their macros and everything else. What pullover machine is going to feel better for you? I don't know, man. Maybe do a set on either machine and then decide for yourself. You can't be handed a routine or a training style, or I mean, I guess you can get a coach and he'll kind of cater this sort of shit for you. But for the most part, what I'm trying to say is you can't just be handed everything you need on a fucking silver platter, right? So, how many calories do you need to eat to lose body fat? I don't know, man. Maybe track your macros, eat 2,000 calories for 3 weeks and see what happens. There is no better way to learn things than to go through the process of trying something, seeing what happens, and then adjusting from there. Right? The guy who's throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks will get infinitesimally more results than some dude who's just watching YouTube videos on the best split of 2023. A guy who focuses on just going into the gym, being a total nut with his intensity, talking to some other dudes who are pretty big, asking their insights. Maybe, just today I'm fucking asking random dudes what kind of curls I should do because I couldn't really think of anything. That guy is, oh, that's all I'm trying to say. To do something with your own hands and to be the first person perspective and see what happens after you do it, that will give you a greater understanding than any tutorial or any coach could give you. Right? So I know for some people that's not what they want to hear, because that's like, that's kind of like some Shifu level shit, or some Oogway level stuff. You ask him for the answer, and he tells you, well, the answer is inside of you the whole time. If you're the guy asking, you're probably like, shit, well, that sucks. I have to figure this out for myself. Screw it. I'm not even going to start lifting. I would say that's not an uncommon mental process of dudes who are a little bit interested in the gym, but don't want to put down the down payment of trying to, see how to do it, even a little bit. And look, I'm not saying that you need to have a fucking Google spreadsheet with a calendar with all of your lifts written out and every set written out perfectly. Just like when I was a beginner, I'm just watching like real, like I was watching videos where it's like, how to do a push-pull leg split. How often should you train? How much volume should you do per set? Right? These basic frameworks of working out, that information's out there. That's stuff which you probably don't need to figure out on your own. You probably don't need to do 50 set workouts and then realize it'd be better for you to do more like 8 set workouts. Right? You know, hit everything about twice a week, gram per pound of protein. Most of the heavy lifting with that sort of shit is already done. So all you need to do is find some kinds of dumbbell curls that you like doing and push the weight hard on them. Right? Decide if you like incline barbell, incline Smith, or fucking incline dumbbell, and then whichever one you like more, whichever one lets you feel your chest the most, do that one for a while. There is nobody on this earth who knows your body more than you. So if you can get a little bit more adept at sort of being in tune with it and kind of being able to say like, okay, this curl doesn't feel very good. Okay, this chest press does not feel good for my build. My shoulders just, oh, now I like this. This easy bar preacher curl is sick. I'm going to do a couple of sets here. Right? Like things like that, making these small adjustments of like, I don't like this, so I'm not going to do it. Or I don't like how this feels, I'm not going to do it. But I really like how this feels. I'm going to do this super hard. You know, that sort of thought process. That's what's going to get you some serious freaking results. That is, as long as you stick to it, get your calories in. But I think that's enough of my... Oh yeah, I guess I didn't even explain what I'm driving for. Unsponsored. Honestly, that was kind of... They should be paying me for that. But either way, I'm too much of a Cane's addict to wait for something like that. So, 1 Caniac plus 3 extra tenders, 3 extra pieces of toast, and 3 extra sauces. I can almost guarantee that once I finish this, plus a fucking Sprite, that it is gonna launch me into a coma, the likes of which I'll wake up as like a fucking isekai. I won't even know what world I'm in from how good of a night's rest I had. But legs tomorrow, I'm sure that being full of all this food and carbs is going to make me feel nice and full and strong for that. Which, I've talked about this before, legs is the lift which I want to be the most prepared for. Because a leg day can turn sour real quick if you feel like shit. You can get through a chest day if you feel kind of trashy. Arm day, no problem. I mean, I can do an arm day with 0 sleep, still get a pretty good pump just because it's such a small muscle. You know, same thing with shoulders. But legs, dude, I mean, the biggest muscles on your fucking body, you're going to feel it if your recovery has been compromised. So, if there's one night in the week that you want to go to sleep early on, it's the night before a leg day. That is, if you train legs at all. And I'm fucking kind of disappointed I even have to make that little end statement there. But, you know, you do you. You gotta remember, the smaller that people's legs are in general, if you actually do legs, they're gonna be bigger in comparison. So, maybe use that as a motivator. I'm gonna stop and get some ice cream at Kroger before I go home, and that's the end of it. So I will see you next time.